everyone, Gaara here and welcome to the very first episode of Beat the Ladder with Gaara. In this first episode I'm gonna feature the worst class to ladder with in the game, which is Priest. And you can check out the stats. You can also go to Data Reaper and see that Priest has by far the lowest win rates out of all classes, and yeah, it's on the other side the easiest deck or the easiest class to beat with the other classes. So everyone, including myself, is always pretty happy to face a Priest on the ladder, which is usually a rare occurrence on the higher ranks. And in this video, which is my new improved deck videos, and I really hope you guys will enjoy this. And if you guys like this video, give me a like. What can you expect from this video? In the first part I'm gonna do my regular deck tech. I'm going to explain every single card choice in my deck, and then in the second part I will show you some ladder games. In this episode I will show you the games, the last games from rank 1 to up to legend, which is pretty interesting. And in the last part I will also show you some stats. And so without further ado, let's just jump right into the deck list. And we start off with a Dragon Priest first of all, and I'm pretty convinced that Dragon Priest is the strongest archetype of Priest. And I know that a lot of people also are mainly playing like Resurrect mainly Resurrect Priest. A lot of people are going away from the standard Control Priest just because it is underperforming against everything, even against other control classes. So, but in my opinion, Dragon Priest is the way to go, because curve decks, as most of you guys know, are the strongest archetype. Can we call it archetype? Let's call it archetype of decks in Hearthstone. And this is kind of boring, just because the main reason why this is the case is because mostly it is always better to play a minion on curve than reacting to your opponent's minion, because the removal cards in Hearthstone are almost never trading 1 for 2 or more, and in the best case they trade 1 for 1, and those are just the removal cards. But board clears have sometimes the ability to get more value out of them if the opponent just overextends on the board, and then let's say the opponent plays like Sorcerer's Apprentice and another 2-drop, and then you play Holy Nova, and then you kill 2 minion, and then you get card value from this. But usually this is very difficult in Hearthstone, just because all the removal cards and all the board clears are just much weaker than just playing a minion. And this is why with Naxxramas we've seen mainly like decks like Secret Paladin and Hunter, just because definitely minions are even more difficult to remove from the board, just because a removal card doesn't even trade 1 for 1 with those minions. I decided to play Dragon Priest just because, yeah, we have very powerful minion we play proactively from turn 1, and on top of it, if we decide to play Dragon in general, I think that Priest is actually the best choice, just because we have an additional Dragon in Priest, which is also a 1-drop, and this is what every other Dragon deck is missing. If you want to build a Dragon Mage deck or Dragon Warrior deck or a Dragon Paladin deck, we don't have a 1-drop in those decks, and on top of it, not a 1-drop that is a dragon itself. Like we have the Extraordinary Champion in Warrior, which is amazing, but it is not a dragon, obviously. But in Priest we have this Twilight Whelp, an amazing 1-drop, 2 free stats, which is the same stats as Zombie Chow basically, and it is a dragon on its own. So if we draw this card in the late game, we are still happy because we have this dragon that we keep in our hand for the dragon synergy, which is amazing. So we start off with Powered Shield. Powered Shield is a card I really like in every single Priest archetype, except we would probably except we would build a weird mill Priest, then maybe it's not the best card to run in that deck. But if that is not the case, and we don't play a Reno Priest, I would run double Powered Shield in every single Priest deck, because the upside of the card is just so huge. But in this deck it fulfills an additional role. It provides you an additional spell for Priest of the Feast, and I will talk about this in a bit, which is a great new card as well that was introduced through the Karazhan expansion. But Powered Shield is just a card we fit in to fill out the curve very nicely. Very often Dragon Priest is kind of played, you always have to think like 2 or 3 turns ahead all the time. So when we go first, we have Twilight Whelp in our hand, and we don't have a dragon card, another dragon card. We don't have the dragon synergy card effect on the Twilight Whelp, so we don't play him on turn 1. But we have Powered Shield and let's say Wyrmrest Agent. So on turn 2 we have the option, so after seeing our card that was drawn, if it's not a dragon, then we can play the Wyrmrest Agent and utilize the effect from Twilight Whelp just being a dragon and play a 2/4. And if we do another dragon, then we can just play the Twilight Whelp now for a 2/3 and buff it with the Powered Shield, so we have a 2/5. And the Powered Shield is very, very nice to just squeeze in 1 additional mana which we have left behind. Oftentimes we play the Wyrmrest Agent on turn 2 and we have 1 mana left over, or the Blackwing Technician on turn 4 and we have 1 mana left over, and then we buff those cards with the Powered Shield, cycle our deck quicker to draw those dragons to get those powerful dragon synergy cards. Also in a curve deck, curve type of deck with such high base stats, it is very, very powerful to give minions additional 2 life just for trading purposes. So the reason why I decided to play this deck is I take this deck to be the absolute Shaman killer. Right now in ladder we face mostly Shamans. It's around 30% of the opponents that I face are playing Shamans, so I even tagged in double Ooze. So what Shamans mostly mulligan for is the Spirit Claw. And yeah, so if I have an Acidic Swamp Ooze, it fits perfectly into the curve. They go turn 1 Spirit Claws, I go turn 2 coin out the Acidic Swamp Ooze, and then I have a Shadowed Pain as a follow-up to deal with the Totem Golem, or buff it with the Powered Shield, whatever. If they just go Totem, I start clearing those totems. So this deck is from the beginning, we play those Twilight Whelps, you have the Powered Shields, the Pains, the Wyrmrest Agents, which are difficult to kill. Every single card in this deck is very good versus Shaman, and you will see later in the stats which I will show you that this deck is very, very powerful versus Shaman. So Acidic Swamp was also very, very good versus Moria. Rip those Gorehowls, and I had games where I killed every single weapon from their deck. They played the double Vorax, I double oozed it, he played Gorehowl, and I harassed it, which is hilarious. So Shadowed Pain, also very powerful card. If you Shadowed Pain Thunderbuff Lion, this is like basically the most value you can get out of your Shadowed Pain. It also provides you tempo, which you rarely get with any Priest deck. So yeah, Shadowed Pain, just a plenty of targets. You can kill Totem Golems, you can kill Flametongue Totem, Mana Tides, and so forth. It's just very, very powerful right now. Also against Hunter, very strong. Every deck has something that can be Shadowed Paint. Malygos Druid is probably the worst matchup, and the reason is because they play very few early game minions, and ramping out big minions is usually very powerful against Priest. And yes, there's very few Shadowed Paint targets, only Fandral and the Maya Keepers usually. So Wyrmrest Agents, also just a very strong Dragon Synergy card, also like another card that Priest has access to when you build a Dragon Priest. Just a very nice card to play on turn 2. You can really not complain about the stats, and it has Taunt, which is amazing. Like in the late game, Pirate Warrior is getting more and more popular, and they just go face, and it's very frustrating if you have like the board and they just go face, and having then additional taunts you can play is just super great also in the late game. So Wyrmrest Agent, very great. Also the next card, Blackwing Technician, it's my favorite card actually. I think this card is highly underrated. A 3/5 minion to play on turn 3 is so powerful. Against Shaman, I love to coin this out the most, because Shaman just cannot kill it. Like, you cannot hex it because there will be bigger minions to hex. It's just so awkward to deal with this. You can really greatly utilize your hero power with this minion just to keep it alive, get a lot of value from it. And just I would not replace those cards with Brun. I think a 3/5 minion is just much stronger. You really don't need the value from the Brun, and the Brun will usually not stick on the board. So double Shadow Death. Double Shadow Death or Death is probably the strongest removal we have access to right now. That is a spell. Just because Execute got nerfed, I think it was a really huge nerf. 2 mana Execute compared to Shadow Death. Yes, you can execute everything, but for big minions, a removal for big minions, Shadow Death might be really up there. Yeah, just very powerful right now. You can generate you a lot of tempo if you have the board. There's a lot of minions to Shadow Death right now. Every single class plays something that you can Shadow Death, so don't be worried about running 2 of those. Yeah, also especially Druid has a lot of targets you can Shadow Death. Also, more and more people are putting Ragnaros in their decks, even in their mid-range decks, so watch out for that. Priest of the Feast, another card that was introduced with the previous expansion. I absolutely love this card, and it is actually that most people are complaining about, oh yo, Priest got another 4-drop, why do we have another 4-drop, we have so many 4-drops. But Dragon Priest was actually lacking 4-drops. We were forced to play cards like Dragonkin Sorcerer, which is a really bad dragon. And just because there are no other good 4-drops, Arcanite really doesn't fit in the deck. And yeah, back in the days we had Shredder, but yeah. Priest of the Feast is just amazing, and this is another fix for Dragon Priest, which is amazing. Priest was really lacking, Dragon Priest especially was really lacking heal cards. The hero power is just not enough. When you play against Hunter, and I might explain it in the games, I will show you guys later as well, that you will stabilize at some point, but you will be so low on life that it's so hard to push for the win just because the Hunter can ignore your board and go for phase. You will be down at like 10 life and you start stabilizing. It's so hard to get the reach with the kill commands, quick shots, bows, and Ragnaros, whatever. So Priest of the Feast is an amazing card for just getting a lot of heal if it sticks on the board. The opponent has to use those removal cards like kill commands to kill it, else you just heal yourself up. I think it's a very essential card in the deck, and this is another card that makes this deck viable, I think, to climb. This is also the reason why I run 2 of them, even though they're not dragons. I was running even Smites if you checked out my previous dragon deck tech video, which I made like a couple months ago. But yeah, I ended up cutting Smite just to make this deck like very smooth. I tried to improve it as much as possible to make it as efficient as possible. I added the double ooze just because I'm facing so many shamans and hunters and warriors, just weapon classes in general. So, but regardless, I think we have, because people were asking me this on stream, if am I not running too few spells? I think the amount of spells is enough with the Entomb, the Holy Nova, Double Death, Double Pain, and Powered Shield. You don't need to heal that much. If you get like 1 or 2 spells with the Priest of the Feast, it's usually enough, and your opponent will use direct damage usually to get rid of the Priest of the Feast. Also against Shaman, it's a great card, amazing stat line, 3/6. This is as much as you can ask for, and an amazing upside. Compared to the Twilight Guardian, same stats, but it has an amazing effect compared to the Twilight Guardian, which has Taunt, so just a very good card. Azure Drake doesn't get much value from the spell power, or we don't get much value from the spell power on the Azure Drake in this deck. We just have the Holy Nova, but it is still a staple dragon we have to run. It gives you a card, which is very important. We don't run much card draw besides the Powered Shield and the Azure Drake, so it's very nice to have something with a draw engine, and it is a dragon, so it's very nice to have that. And it is a 5-drop to just fill out the curve. Corruptor, one of the main reasons why we even run dragons in the first place, just a very powerful tempo card and anti-aggro card. Harrison Jones on top of the double ooze. Yeah, you will catch a lot of people off guard with that card on top of seeing the oozes from you. Just amazing card overall right now. From what I've seen from my stats, it's the card with the highest win rate right now on on ladder right now, just because so many people are playing Shaman or just weapon classes. The popularity of weapon classes is very high, so I would recommend playing that. Holy Nova, I was running 2, but I don't really need it because I'm fighting from the board from the beginning. If I'm having a really bad mulligan and I cannot fight for the board from the beginning, Holy Nova will not bring me back into the game just because it doesn't really kill anything right now. It's very nice if you have the board already, just to get the additional heal from Priest of the Feast, heal your high HP minions, but it's one of those win more cards. It's really nice to have one of them in the deck, but I don't really see the necessity of running 2. Bookworm, just an amazing new dragon that was introduced with the Karazhan expansion. It's another Shadowed Pain we have in the deck. It's amazing if you play it on curve to kill a Thunder Buff Alliant. The Shaman will struggle so much to keep up with your minions on the board, and then you have a Bookworm on top of everything, just to deal with those Spirit Wolves, Mana Tides, whatever. Just a great card right now. Also, I like to use it to kill Acolytes, so to prevent draw from Control Warriors. Against Control Warriors, you don't really want to go to Fatigue. You just play minions on curve, and they run out of removals. You don't overextend in Brawl, and then they just run out of removals, and then you win the game that way. And Cabal Shadow Priest, on top of just having the double Bookworm, just to make the lives of Shamans even more miserable. The number one target you want to steal with it against the Shaman is the Mana Tide, but also against Tempo Mages you steal the Flame Waker. Against Hunter there's so many targets you can steal. Kindly Grandmother is one of the best ones. Double Entomb is also, I think, a very core card. It's very powerful. Against Hunter it's very hard. There's a lot of minions which are very difficult for Priest to deal with, like a Twilight Drake, Hymen, just the Sylvanas can be so difficult for when you have the board and your opponent plays Sylvanas, you need the Entomb, and I really think that it's super core to run double Entomb, also just to beat other control decks. So yeah, and to finish off the list, you can play one late game dragon. I decided to run Deathwing. I think it's a very good card, because you will run out of cards if you haven't won the game through your early game. You will run out of cards. People, other mid-range decks can outvalue you. Like Tempo Mage runs Kabbalist Tomes and Arcane Intellect, so they draw a lot of cards. They have Flame Strike, so they can get the board back. And then you will run out of cards, and Deathwing is another board clear, especially against Shaman. If they somehow get the board back with some spell power, Lightning Storms and Maelstrom, which can happen, then you have this amazing last board clear, final board clear, win condition. Usually you don't even discard many cards. You have like 1 or 2 cards left in your hand, and you play it, and then you kill his last resources, and then usually they also use their hexes before that on some 4-drop or whatever, and then you have this amazing 12 turf on the board, and it is a dragon, and just having him in your hand is amazing for a dragon synergy deck. So this is the deck I'm using to climb to legend. It is Priest, and I hope you guys enjoyed this deck tech video, and see you guys in part 2, where I'm gonna show you some later games. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you in a bit. Okay, we have a Hunter now. Against Hunter, obviously, anything early game related, we keep a bunch of different types of dragons. If I had Twilight Develop, I obviously keep Twilight Guardian, and sometimes I even keep a Zuidrake, just to have a dragon in hand. Like, the most frustrating games are when you have those super insane early game drops, like the Wyrmwrist Agent, Twilight Whelp, and Blackwing Technician, but you don't have a dragon in hand. Like here, if I would have not drawn the Buckworm, yeah, it would be kind of frustrating. But yeah, with this deck I want to curve out. I skipped the 2-drop. So far I'm skipping the 3-drop. I mean, very high chance that I draw something playable or an Ooze. Here you can see, like, the ladder plays so many weapon classes. It's like usually I get really rewarded for running double Ooze and Harrison. Looking bad. Yeah, I skipped 3-drop as well. So usually, I mean, my deck is still very strong against his deck. But yeah, it is a curve deck than like most other curve decks, and skipping turn 2, 3, and 4 is, and probably even turn 5 is just yeah, it punishes me so hard that I will very, very, very likely lose this game, especially if he gets a rag like this. Like, I didn't even get my Ooze or Harrison. It's just a horrific hand. We'll see. I mean, he also dealt 8 damage to the face, like, for free. Yeah, well... literally for free. How do we come back from this? I have no idea. I think I have to even power shield this because I need... I mean, this is game over, pretty much. But it's nice to show you guys that, I mean, it can happen, such games can happen, but it's super unlikely. When you think about it, I ran 1 Holy Nova, my removals are 2 Pains, 2 Deaths, Entomb, and I got all of it, except another Entomb. I have the, like, 3 weapon removals, I didn't draw them as well. I draw, like, the only late game dragon as well. It's just a poor game. Yeah. I mean, if he has 1 direct damage, I'm dead. Moving on to the next game. So, a Mage. Obviously, we don't keep the Hearthstone. Mage used to be surprisingly bad for me. I don't even know why. My deck should be pretty good versus Mages, but it's underperforming. As you can see, as I mentioned the first game, yeah, since I don't have a second dragon, I just skip my turn 1. I don't play the Twilight Whelp. This is very often how you play with the priest. And if past turn 5 or 6, if I have the Twilight Whelp in my hand, I will just yeah, not play it at all. So here I can paint this. Actually, no, yeah. If I had the dragon, if this would be a dragon, I would play Twilight Whelp plus buff, because it doesn't die to the Arcane Blast. Here I will paint this, because he coined out the 2-drop. He either has like follow-up with Frostbolt and Arcane Blast, or he has another 2-drop. And if he plays another 2-drop, I just play the Wimmer's Agent plus the buff. Cycles out my deck a little bit more. I don't want to paint this. I prefer to save this for Flamemaker, because if I don't have an answer for Flamemaker, he can really snowball. Like, he could go Flamemaker plus Mirror Images, and without the pain I would be in a bad spot. But since I have the pain, he could preemptively Frostbolt it. Arcane Blast is just 2 damage. Trade ping, okay. So yeah, and again, similar reasoning. I will just play the minion to contest it, even though he can just fireball. If he just fireballs, I'm kind of forced to paint it, but I really wanna save the pain for the Flamemaker. So he uses the minion and a removal spell, so I'm completely fine with that, once again. I mean, now I just saw that he has really problems removing my board, so again I will just play a minion over using the pain. Draw a little bit deeper my deck. Very often I'm in those situations where I have multiple minions in my hand and I have to play one. And I really like to play Azudrak as my first minion, just to have more options and dig deeper in my deck. So here, I'm not quite sure why he even runs Bran. Probably, so if he has an Azudrak, I would get kind of punished a little bit. Since I have 2 Whelps, okay, I will paint it. He's running out of cards. He might have like the 5-drop that discovers your card, or like an Azudrak, and that would be really bad for me if he has it. Right now I have pretty nice cut advantage. I will just def this guy, there's not so many minions to death against this deck. So just go for the Wimrist agent and death. Pretty nice board. I don't want to overcommit into Flame Strike. So I will probably just play 3 minions and yeah, see how it goes. You cannot really force to end the game with Priest very often. Let's see what this is. Like, I'm kind of happy right now that he doesn't have card draw. So this is actually pretty nice holding over. I mean, I don't really want to lose my board here. Since I drew the Deathwing, I have no problems playing the Twilight Whelp, because this is like the slowest dragon in my whole deck. And yeah, this will be the very last card I will play from my hand, so I will always have a dragon in my hand. This is another reason why I really like Deathwing. It's very good versus Shamans, it's board clear, and it's a dragon. I mean, he has to basically top deck Flame Strike, so the chances are very low. I don't really want to overcommit too much, but I want to end the game. This is really not a lot of pressure, 6 damage, unfortunately. If you Flame Strike, it's obviously very painful and it brings him back into the game. But as I said, it's not a card he holds in the hand, he has to top deck it. And some people don't even run it anymore. I don't have to... How much damage was this? 6, 8, 10, 12. It's not lethal quite yet. Just gonna kill it, save my tomb. Like, play it slow but not that slow. Like, I'm playing a lot of cards. But it's fine now also with my Deathwing. Even if he Flame Strikes, I have a freaking 12-12. So he needs Flame Strike and Shield. So yeah, he needs a pretty good Yogg. So he only played like 5 spells or something, 4 spells. Shouldn't be that crazy. But yeah, Yogg never fails to disappoint. Getting up a lot of Yoggs. So I pretty much have to end the game now. Yeah. Pretty nice. He didn't draw any card draw cards, so he ran out of steam pretty quickly. Yeah. So another big surprise, another mid-rangey deck. I will just not keep the death. Those cards are amazing. I just need to draw any dragon basically. Awesome. It's not the best one, but at this point I don't care. So he goes for the Secret Keeper. I will coin out the Wimrist agent here. Can get punished, like if he has a freezing trap. Like not even a freezing trap, any trap. But yeah, we'll see. I will attack like a manly man no matter what. It's very unlikely he has freezing trap and Secret Keeper. So yeah, I didn't fall for the bait, I don't know. Just played it. He didn't have to follow up. Get super ultra punished by my Wimrist agent. I'm using the powered shield here because hero power would just heal me for 1. I don't see me having the mana left for the following turn. And in turn 4 I can play the 2-drop and heal. So he uses a Hunter's Mark for a rather weak minion, so I'm completely happy with that. Since he plays Secret Keeper and Hunter's Mark, it's very unlikely he runs Houndmaster, so I will take the risk. Just putting him on not having a Houndmaster in the deck, and even if it's in the deck, it's usually just maybe 1. I was right about that, so 2 traps, I don't mind, like proccing, see what happens. If it's freezing trap, it can also be the cat trick. If it's cat trick, that's actually pretty painful, but what can we do? I don't really have much AoE in my deck. Yeah, very few people run even snake trap, so the snakes will do a ton of work here. Be sad if I lose to the snakes. I mean, yeah, if he draws weapons, I can... Like, I'm still at a lot of life, but actually, usually if you get procced... I mean, he uses just a kill command like that. I don't know. A little bit disagree with that play, but... So I have a lot of anti-aggro, like drawing Holy Nova would be the nuts, but I don't expect to draw it. I think the chances are just extremely small. It's around 30%, so we don't expect to draw it. I mean, it's a very aggressive deck. He probably has a quick shot, right? Yeah, that's why he used the kill command. Oh, that's awesome. He killed my minion. That's actually pretty good for me. If he would have just went face, it would be slightly scarier. So I go for the minion. I hope to draw my one of my two Priest of the Feast. They are excellent. I could just play them and heal myself of the pain. Or Holy Nova as well. Holy Nova would be fantastic. See, killing the beast. Could be a snipe. The thing is, if I paint this, it could be a cat trick. So I prefer to hero power myself. It can also be an explosive trap. But he doesn't have the answer for this dragon here, so he's playing a lot of... Oh, there you go. Now do you even don't care about a cat trick. It's a perfect draw. This is why I run 2. I feel like against Hunter it's necessary. So this looks like it looks like a explosive trap or bear trap. Yeah, so with this I don't even die to explosive, so I feel like it's worth it. Attack with this one first, so in case it's bear trap I can use this guy to proc. 15 HP is way out of range, so I will heal. It's 9 damage on board. To set up a 2-turn lethal I should just go for the ooze here. And yeah, Priest of the Feast, very nice card in almost any priest deck. Another Shaman, big surprise, big surprise. He goes first, so that's very nice. Very often they just mulligan for the weapon. I'm not sure about if I keep the power shield. I don't think so. I want the early game stuff. In case he doesn't play the weapon, I want to be able to either Shadow Paint his Totem Golem or just play my own stuff. Like, I will not play the ooze if he... Oh, that would be interesting actually. If he just totems up, I really like. He didn't play the weapon, so he probably doesn't have it. I actually like to coin this out, because if he plays Totem Golem, I pain. And if he just plays Totem, I want to have this for trading, so... he played the Totem Golem, so... I pain it, go face, and I don't even mind. So the follow-up term usually is just Totem up. He's very likely lucky if he actually has, another Totem Golem. But yeah, if he just does that, I mean... That is actually, whatever. I expected a little bit more of a fight, so, but that's it. That was my Legend climb, the final games. I'm showing you guys all my last 6 games or so. I hope you guys like it. I climbed to Legend this season with the worst class, basically. Priest is actually the worst class. And after this, I will also show you my stats of this month or the recent days. Hope you guys liked it, and see you in a bit. So hello guys, I'm back here, and here you can see me having the stats open. Today it doesn't really look that impressive. As you can see, it is just 57% win rate, but it is priest, so we take what you get. I actually played also some games in the gym today, and I obviously don't have a tracker there when I play on my mobile phone, and I played like no, six and one, something like that. So I had really a good record, like without tracking my games. Those games you can see here, I played on stream, and yeah. So, and also the recent games you saw in this video. As you can see, I won against Druid. I was pretty even against Hunter. I would say I was kind of unlucky because I also show you one game where I lose to Hunter. I think usually I'm very favorite in that matchup. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I lost quite a bit of games against Tempo Mages. I don't even know why, because I think my deck is still pretty good against it. And you guys also saw me like winning on in some of the games I showed you. So I haven't faced other priests on Paladin, no big surprise there. People don't really play those. The deck is really bad against Rogue. I lost today to our Rogue that played Barnes and got an auctioneer from the Barnes and had a coin from the peddler. So used peddler coin into conceal afterwards, and that was pretty much GG. And here, this is my favorite stat. The matchup I face by far the most on ladder is Shaman, and deck is extremely good versus Shaman. That the list is pretty much a crazy good ladder deck, because the most popular decks or classes that I'm facing are mid-rangey decks like Hunter and Shaman, by far the most, and Tempo Mages, and I still think that I should be favorite in this matchup, so that will go up. And yeah, I played actually Renolog twice today, and I lost both games. If this would be Zoo, I would be winning those as well. And surprisingly enough, this deck is also very, very powerful against Control Warrior. So yeah, this is the summarization why it is working, why I was managing to play or climb with Priest mainly to Legend. I also was playing some Shaman. I went 7-0, yeah, no big surprise there. If there's no Shamans playing on ladder, then I switch to my own Shaman, and as soon as I face a lot of mirrors, so I know people are running Shaman, then I go to my Priest, and I'm, as you can see, basically farming those Shamans. I really hope you guys enjoyed this new in-depth deck tech / guide. If you guys like this video and this kind of videos, please give me a like so I know what kind of videos you guys like, and it helps me improve for the future. I hope you guys like this video, and I wish you a beautiful day, and see you guys next time. Peace out.